Good afternoon, traders and friends. Welcome back for the market recap. Still Tuesday, August the 20th. Thanks for trusting us with your time. Dan will be with me very shortly. Thank you for watching. Make sure you do like, share, comment, question, feedback, and haven't seen much heckling lately. Guys are slacking on me a little bit, so always looking forward to hearing from you. As far as the markets this morning, or the markets today, crude oil, we never got our chance to see price or its reaction up near weekly kickoff high. Traders seem to be just kind of jockeying for position before the API and the EIA numbers due out this afternoon and tomorrow morning, respectively. The E-mini S&P is trouble maintaining a rally today. No real test of weekly kickoff high in regular trading hours today, at least not yet. No finish of the gap that we kind of crept into earlier today. Day's not over yet, and we still may see some of that activity. Gold, a small range, short time frame activity. Volume continues to slow in balance. No completion of the repair day, so really just kind of jockeying for position. I think people are waiting for new information in these markets. And the euro volume kind of maintains as price holds above that weekly kickoff low that we've been flirting with for 3 straight days. We've been testing that level. When will we find buyers or exhaust buyers down at that level? On that note, I'd like to invite Dan into the picture. How are you? Dan, the man, the Marine Hodgman.
I am great, John. I'm great. How are you?
Good, good.
Nice quiet day. Nothing extreme, no major news. Today's kind of one of those days you just trade your technicals, you trade what you're seeing in the charts, not those external things that throw confusion or fear into the markets.
Or a wrench.
Right. There's none of that was out there today. No one stuck the old stick into the bicycle wheel and stopped it on its nose.
You can dodge a ball.
Right?
Right?
Dive, dodge, and dip. Absolutely. So today was a nice, quiet opportunity day. It wasn't huge, but it made for some good opportunities. S&Ps gave for some nice little trading off of the extremes. You found some opportunities there, hopefully. And all in all, it's just a nice, fun day of trading. Yeah. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I was kind of talking to my personal coaching team, and we were in our meeting, our daily meeting, and we weren't really seeing anything that really stuck out to me. And you have those days where things really kind of seem clear to you. You have those days when they don't seem that clear to you. I think today was a kind of a good day to kind of sit back, relax, stay patient, look for opportunities at the extremes, as you mentioned, because we did see a few of those.
Absolutely. That was, and that's needed every so often. It's funny. You even look at some of these markets, decent sized ranges, no doubt about it. And the thing that's interesting is they look small. We've had so much movement over the last couple weeks. Ranges were huge, and now we're just kind of catching our breath. We're taking a deep breath, like, okay, nothing major is happening. Looks like President Trump's speaking right now, so we'll see if he's talking again about cutting rates by 100 basis points. I don't know if that'll happen.
He's also talking about tax cuts.
Yes, I know Huawei is one of the big ones that he'll be talking about here today.
Talking about that today, right?
And that should be a big deal. So, this is one of those days. I am very content with how it played out. Nice and relaxed and quiet, and it's kind of nice, especially on a rainy day we have here in Chicago today, for things to stay a little quiet. I'm feeling maybe a movie this afternoon in here and kick our feet up a little bit.
There you go.
Right?
There you go, yeah. And it's kind of funny, the teeth of the storm came in right about noon when everybody was trying to go out to lunch.
And I had to borrow an umbrella to run across the street to grab some lunch. I was not thinking today. But it's a nice day, and I'm excited to see what we get to say about these markets.
So let's take a quick look.
Let's do it. Here we go.
All right, here's the daily in crude. 4th day of contact on this trend line, very close to weekly kickoff low. That happened in the overnight, our check of that trend line. Haven't had the opportunity to see that level yet again today for the most part. just kind of waiting for new information. Again, the API this afternoon, EIA tomorrow. Here's our overnight high right up against that trend line. We did kind of get a close look at that trend line in shorter time frame here. Really the market kind of rotating lower and then rotating back higher, really just kind of usurping yesterday's regular trading hour range. You guys hear that? You guys hear that? The siren? I think my ride is here. All
It's
right.
louder and louder.
It's louder and louder. Yeah, they're getting closer. You know, here we are. We're waiting for more information tomorrow. Let's take a quick look at the S&Ps. An overnight look at the weekly kickoff high again in the S&Ps. Volume and open interest largely indecisive yesterday, still indecisive today. We seem to be a little bit lower on volume. Just check the New York Stock Exchange volume. It's off by 3%. So the market really just kind of falling into somewhat of a digestive state here. As far as the day session today, we traded back to settlement. We opened it basically in an area that kind of bodes for repair. We talk about repair. Well, yesterday's point of control was up here. We checked that in the overnight, but we have this point of control down here, which is still unchecked. Okay, so when we open between them, we tend to kind of move back and forth between those two levels. We're kind of having trouble holding rallies here, and we're holding right at the lows of the regular trading hour and extended trading hour session here. And we do have some time left in the day. It's going to be interesting to see how this market resolves by the end of the day. It may just do nothing, but I'm kind of looking for an opportunity to see this market move a little bit lower. Is it going to be an opportunity to look for bargains? It very well might be. A lot of that depends on what happens at the White House overnight here. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. Gold. We traded right basically to the low of our assumed balance area here in the overnight, kind of resolving back to the upside. Again, we're still seeing weak volume. As long as we're staying in this range, that volume I think might continue to kind of fall off. It's getting pretty slim in here, and I think that's going to be an impetus for the market to move out of this balance area in either direction, either higher or lower. And that might provide some decent opportunities once that finally does come to pass. Take a quick look at the 30-minute here. Okay. Market opens, trades back to settlement, trades back to point of control. It's another situation where we would look for an opportunity to kind of fill in the space between this point of control up here and this point of control up here. Didn't necessarily, we did not see that happen today. Market, for all intents and purposes, largely closed, so we're going to have to see how things play out tonight and tomorrow for that. And the euro, 3 days in a row that we've had the weekly kickoff low in play during the day, during the session, and we have not been able to bring in any time, spend any time, bring in any volume, bring in any participation, and certainly no downside momentum below that level. It's kind of important. We've seen the volume falling off as the market continues to try and work lower. We got a little boost in volume today to the upside. Let's take a quick look at the 30. Okay, so here's the market opens right at the weekly kickoff level, the weekly kickoff low. The weekly kickoff low is an important longer time frame inflection level. Sometimes it takes a little digestion around that area to find some direction. Really, we looked below it. We moved, below the previous low. 1, 2, 3, 4 real attempts to close below it, but not able to do so. But are we really bringing participation? Are we really driving away from it in the other direction? I'm going to go ahead and say no. The little increase in volume today, is that going to be enough to bring in buyers against this level? Time will tell, but really when you look at this, we're just in a range for the last 3 days, right along this important level. The market is waiting, it's looking for more information. These markets are so hungry for information because they've been fed so much information lately, and when it doesn't happen, they kind of fall, they like into the hangover, like Dan says.
Absolutely. John, can you pull that Euro chart back up really quick?
Of course.
That 30-minute.
Yeah.
One thing I really want to say about this is when you look at this chart right here, we were talking the other day, I think it was yesterday, just about how simply framing out your day looks. This trade after the forecast this morning, right around the time the forecast went this morning, right off of weekly kickoff low there, sets you up, and there's such a visual profit target up above to look for this thing to go. If this doesn't set you up for such an awesome opportunity of simply drawing out your day, I don't know what does. Call me crazy, but I'm just looking at this, and if today just doesn't show the perfect example of trading extremes. Buy that low. Where is that low? Well, there's that beautiful black line that you get every single every Sunday's email. Sets you up for a really awesome entry point up to where your profit target is, and that profit target is so visually drawn based off of settlement prices, swing highs, value area highs, points of control. If you just kind of look at yesterday and Friday where those points of control were, it just screams giant magnet. Market wants to be there. Market loves those prices. People are going to want to see market getting back towards those prices.
Absolutely, Dan. And it's being able to recognize that the importance of this level here, this longer term time frame inflection level, to be able to see it's been rejected time and time again. When it's finally rejected during the regular trading hour session again today, it really provides a nice little opportunity down here around 9:30 in the 9:30 bar. It trades back to it, doesn't really get even anywhere, doesn't get very far below it. That's where your real opportunity was. If you're going to be fading the extremes, that was a really nice opportunity. And then of course, you got point of control, value high, and the high of the last 2 sessions really lining up nicely with the high of today's session. So this is what we talk about when we're looking at a market that is really kind of a short time frame controlled, because short time frame traders are looking for these levels with which to trade at and which to target. Well, when you're targeting something in a group, you're eventually going to push the market to get there.
Right. It's going to want to get there, and obviously we'll talk about it time and time again about trying to find targets and sitting through a trade that lasts 3 or 4 hours. Some people struggle with that, and I totally understand. But when you have things lining up and so defined like that, it's hard to put into words, but we just know it's going to get there.
Yeah,
it's like settlement price. I can't tell you how many times when I started this, and I'd ask the old man, Dad, why is settlement so important to you? He goes, Dan, it's a magnet. If that market's away from it, it wants to get back to settlement. He goes, there's no rhyme or reason for it. He goes, but that's what you're looking for it to do.
Right.
That's the first thing he always told me, that he's looking for something to do, is that market to get to settlement.
Yeah.
And not that it's always going to happen, but it works.
It's kind of funny. I had that same conversation with my dad, and he says, well, look at a chart. See how often in each trading session the market comes back and rechecks settlement.
Right. And I'd ask him, I go, what is settlement price? He goes, it doesn't matter what it is. He goes, all you have to know it's a magnet.
Yeah.
I'm like, but Dad, seriously, what is settlement price? He goes, doesn't matter. He goes, it posts on the board at 2:10 every single day. Once it's posted, you know the settlement price for that day. That's the first thing you write down on your prep for tomorrow morning.
Yep.
I go, okay, fine.
Yep.
That was about
Closing
it.
price.
Exactly. So.
Well, I'm going to say hello here. Hello, Alan, Alex, Tony C. Couldn't find me on Twitter. You know what? I've got to get a little bit more active on that. I've got to I got to get out there on that. We'll look for.
I'll type in the chat here what your Twitter handle is.
Okay. All right. So far, double bottom at the IB low. Absolutely, Tony. You're seeing the same things we are. Waleed, good afternoon. Tony, as long as they don't have one of those white jackets, yes, right? You know, yeah, that would be my ride, right? So the profiles on the 6E and the regular trading hour profiles, correct.
He's asking though if since it's CME product, are they open and close times identical to the ES?
No, currency is 7:20 to 2 o'clock. ES 8:30 to 3 o'clock, 3:15 if you really, you know.
For specifics.
I think they settle it closer to the close at 3 o'clock.
I think they do. I mean, that's when they're starting to shut down everything. It's
Right.
3 o'clock, and then final trades come in, and at 3:15 they shut down.
And gold's 7:20 to 12:30.
12:30
they settle it.
Crude oil is
And that's Central Times, of course.
Crude is 8:30 to 1.
8:30 to 1 o'clock. Yes.
1 o'clock.
Actually, 8:30 to 1:30.
8:30
8 o'clock to 1:30.
It's a lot of times.
I think those men with the white coats are coming from me.
It's funny. I just remember standing out on the floor and like you'd hear certain bells. You go, there go the grain guys. There go these guys. And I was Treasury, so we had to stay till 2, and like half the floor was already closed up by the time our bell came. I always get so jealous of those guys over in the grains because they're down there later than us. They start late. They end early. They had like the best hours in the entire world. I was so jealous.
And they're down at Ceres.
Exactly. Ceres is a good
thanks, Alan.
time.
You're my 4th follow. Awesome. Hey, Dan.
Yeah, John, we got to get John more active. I got to be tweeting more too. So feel free to follow me, the real Dan Hodgman. Or no, I'm not the real Dan Hodgman. I'm the Dan Hodgman.
Alan, I have never tweeted yet. But they tell me I should. So I will probably start soon. I have a little bit of a learning curve, I think, to kind of get into it, but we'll figure it out. We'll
make it fun. We'll make it fun.
Sure.
So real quick on the news front, there's not a whole lot of news going on right now. Like we said this morning, it's actually moderately quiet. What I'm really excited about seeing right now is, yes, we are talking Treasury yields are low. There's a fear there. There's fears with the trade negotiations, and there's just been this constant wavering talk about recession. First off, I will say this term recession, it's a little overused in my opinion, because we remember the last time we entered into this recession in 2008.
Right.
That was a terrible time for a lot of people.
Right.
We are nowhere near that right now.
Right.
Cash flow is still moving. We saw new home sales up. We're seeing some really good numbers. GDP continues to rise. Unemployment continues to be near all-time lows. So we have some really good indicators out there. And so there's a recession dashboard at Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse. Thank you. Reading it here, and I'm not saying what I'm thinking. But their dashboard, their recession dashboard right now is saying we are nowhere near a recession. And I think that's really important to note. Equities are still just a few percentage off their all-time highs.
Sure.
We're in a great spot with them.
For sure.
For the time being. We'll see what happens. Things could be changing. Trump's looking at possible tax cuts, it says right now. Always looking at capital gains and payroll taxes. So payroll important to him. Got to keep an eye on that stuff. And the trade deal continues to move forward. So that's kind of the major news right now that I think is worth noting, worth thinking about. And I'm looking forward to where the future goes with that. Now, on the other front of things, John, would you like to introduce it?
It's that time?
It's that time.
It's time for This Date in History with Dan Hodgman.
All right, so this day in history in 1911, the first around-the-world telegram was sent. A dispatcher in the New York Times office sends the first telegram around the world via commercial service.
1911.
Yep, goes all the way around the world. So that's pretty wild. Can you believe it? 1911. In the grand scheme of the length of the world,
Yeah, right.
that's not that long ago.
No, that was the first tweet.
Look at where we're at right now, right?
And I was just looking at how the telegram and how it started and what when the first Atlantic telegraph was established. They had a real hard time with it because they kept burning up the wires. They were using too strong a voltage. It would take an entire day for like it to get there and for them to be able to figure out what they were saying.
Okay.
It was very difficult, but that was in the 1800s. 1911, they finally got it right.
They got it right. They centered around the entire world.
Around the entire world, not just across the Atlantic.
And for perspective, so another thing on this day in history. For perspective, this is 1911. In 1920, professional football was born. So football wasn't even the professional American football, throwing the pigskin. Didn't start until August 20th, 1927. Guys with legendary all-around athlete Jim Thorpe met in Canton, Ohio to establish the Professional Football League.
That's probably why the Hall of Fame is in Canton, Ohio.
Might make sense, right?
Maybe it's on
It all connects.
that hallowed ground.
Right? The stars aligned for you. You just processed all that there. So those are a couple things that happened on this day in
I have
history.
one.
What do you got?
I have one. In 1882, Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture debuted in Moscow.
That was on my list. I didn't get to that one.
I'm a music guy,
Yes.
and it's a long piece.
Where?
It's like 16 minutes long.
Is it really?
Yeah.
How about that? How about that? It's funny how those things work. I love doing this day in history. Looking back and seeing what happened on this day kind of puts things into perspective for me a little bit. It's very interesting.
Well, and maybe tomorrow will be the day in history that Hogue posts his first tweet.
That will be one worth noting. We'll have to tell the History Channel.
That'll be all over Google.
Exactly. Well, awesome, John. Thanks for the time, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. We still got a long week ahead of us, a lot of opportunity in front of us, and
and there's a lot. There was really no major economic releases.
There's nothing today.
First couple of days this week. Tomorrow,
it's kind of nice.
Tomorrow we've got more. Then there's the Jackson Hole Symposium Thursday, Friday. Chairman Powell will be speaking, so a lot of ears and eyes.
Oh yeah,
will be
we
on
have
that.
FOMC minutes tomorrow.
FOMC
Could give
minutes
some
tomorrow.
insight into September's statement. That'll be interesting.
All ears will be peaked on that.
Absolutely, and I think at the Jackson Hole Summit, they'll be talking about cryptos. If I'm not mistaken.
Well,
Could be wrong, but I think that's on the agenda.
they're moving on up.
Right?
They're moving on up.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, they certainly will.
Awesome. Well, John, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Dan.
Everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, traders. Well, looking forward to tomorrow. We have existing home sales at 9 o'clock Central Time. We also have the EIA Petroleum Status Report 9:30 Central Time, and of course the FOMC minutes 1 o'clock Central Time. Thursday jobless claims, PMI composite flash, misleading indicators, and natural gas report, and then of course new home sales on Friday, and the chairman Powell speaks apparently at 9 a.m. Central. I know a lot of folks will be keeping their eyes and ears on that. So again, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the market forecast at 8:15. Until then, make sure you keep your powder dry. One of the things we say around this office all the time is always trade for tomorrow. You've got to be here to play the game tomorrow. Until then, tomorrow, we'll see you. Get a good night's sleep. Be ready and trade well.